What's up, guys? Renee here from Triple O Reptile, and word on the street is you want to get a ball python, but you're not sure how to set it up. Well, no fear. I'm here to help you guys with that. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, you guys. So first things first, we're going to start off with an EXOTERRA 36 by 18 by 18 enclosure. Now, this is going to be a good size enclosure for a baby, small to medium ball python. It's going to give them plenty of room to move around, and it's also going to give them a little bit more height as well, because we all know how curious ball pythons can be. Next, we're going to use some ZoomEd's REPTIBARK. Now, this is going to be a good base layer for them. It's also going to help create a more sturdy, solid ground and also help retain moisture for them, because ball pythons are going to need that humidity in their enclosure to help them shed. Next, we're going to add some ZoomEd's Forest Floor. If you live in a drier area, this is a great additive to your enclosure. It's going to help retain more moisture than just the REPTIBARK alone. So if you live in Arizona or any of the drier states, this would be an ideal bedding to add to your ball python's enclosure just to keep that humidity up. Next, we're going to start mixing up all the soil. This is just going to keep it from being two separate layers and just kind of get a good little mix of it going. Now, I'm a big fan of cork rounds, especially for ball pythons, because they love to hide. So when it comes to a cork round, this one was pretty awesome. It was a pretty lucky find because it had two openings, and honestly, any ball python is going to love that. Next, we're going to also add our ZoomEd's Repti shelter. Now, this is going to act as a humid hide. And all you got to do with this one is you're just going to put some sphagnum moss in there, and that's going to retain humidity. The only area for that moisture to escape out of that hide is through that little hole, and it's also going to help your snake feel very comfortable and safe while they're in their humid hide, whether they're trying to shed or just stay away from the light. Next, we're going to use some mangrove root. Now, mangrove root, in my opinion, is some of the better woods to use, especially when you have a slightly taller enclosure, because it's going to help fill in a lot of that void. And as we all know, ball pythons love to climb around their enclosure. Though they are supposed to be a terrestrial species, they do like to climb around. They're very curious. So that mangrove root is going to help fill in that void and give them some extra areas to climb on. Next, we're going to add some EXOTERRA hanging vines. And that is also going to add some more color to the enclosure. So it's not just a drab brown enclosure. And it's just going to be more stimulating and enriching for your reptile. Now, what I like to do here is take off the suction cups, because a lot of times ball pythons like to just climb on these vines, and over time they can just pop it right off the glass. So I like to take that little twiggy part and just put it right behind the background. That way it's not going to pop out. It looks really nice and helps kind of add some more color and depth to that background. Next up is the water bowl. Now, the water bowl is a must-have for any enclosure, and me personally, I always like to use a corner bowl because it just kind of tucks away in the corner. And it doesn't take up too much surface area, so it gives your reptile plenty of room to move around without taking up too much room. Next, we're going to add some leaf litter. Now, the leaf litter is going to play a very important role, especially if you're planning on throwing isopods in there. If you plan on throwing isopods inside of your enclosure, that is going to add as a primary food source for your isopods. It also just looks really nice and adds to that naturalistic look for your ball python. Now, next we're going to add my favorite product, ZoomEd Reptifogger. Now, the ZoomEd Reptifogger is going to help add that humidity that is necessary to keep your ball python happy and help them shed properly. Next, we're going to add the mini combo deep dome. Now, for this enclosure, we're going to use a 60-watt nighttime bulb and a 100-watt daytime bulb. However, depending on where you live, these wattages will change, so do keep that in mind. However, for this example, these are the wattages we're going to use. Now, I use a 100-watt day bulb to kind of just really give that warm area for your snake, and a 60-watt bulb for a nice temperature drop at night so they get that feel of daytime and nighttime. Now that we have all our lights on and our fog going, check that out. Look how awesome that looks. All I know is any ball python that goes in there is going to have a great time.